What is up, guys? Zero here, and before we even start, I'm sure a few of you have, at least some of you have been wondering where I've been for the past month. TLDRs, I caught COVID. I was sick for like a week or so, and then I ended up with a cough that I still have. Feel a little bit better now. It's a little bit better now, but basically I ended up with a cough for like 2 weeks. So yeah, that's basically where I've been. I just couldn't record or stream or anything because I could barely talk for like the first week. So yeah, so. Feeling a little bit better now, so I'll probably at least start doing a little bit of content again. But with the state of the game, which is not what we're here to talk about, but that's probably going to be a future video at some point. There really isn't really a whole lot to do in this game anymore, so yeah. But today we will be going over the changes that happened this month. So I'm sure most people, if anyone, if you have all kept up with JP, you'll probably know that there have been quite a bit of changes to the cards. That being said, the majority of them are pretty irrelevant, but we're here today to go over the changes that at least I feel are relevant to some degree, because I still have been playing the game for this past month, and I think this month has been I think that has been enough for me to see what changes in my opinion are least relevant. So without further ado, let's get started. So the first change that I feel is irrelevant, we'll go over the smaller ones first. The first one is Noelle. So Noelle before could only swing into a Vanguard with her ability to attack from the back row, but now she can swing into her rears as well. This really helps because she could only swing a Van before, you had to swing your big columns into rears and then have her just poke for like a heal to 5 or something like that. With this seamless poke at rears now, you can actually swing your bigger columns into Van, which is much better. I think this deck is still pretty bad, but this change definitely helps the deck quite a bit. So that's the first one, and the next smaller change is a Lady Fencer's change. So she got changed so that she could swing at rear for her effect. So before she only locked herself if she swung at Van, but now she also works when swinging at rear. So this helps you get over multiple intercepts, helps you get over resist, stuff like that. So very nice change there. So those are the two smaller changes I feel like are relevant. Something I don't even have brought up here is Nova's, because I do not remember what any of their old effects were, but basically most of their effects got changed to not on hit anymore, so that definitely helps the deck. As well as the main other one is Sazanda, the grade 2 rare that got power when it restood, is no longer once per turn, so it can actually scale really big now. But Nova still lacked the main problem of not having any draw power, so the deck still kind of it does its thing a lot better now because you don't have to hit anymore. It's actually somewhat threatening, but the deck doesn't draw cards for shit, so it just kind of fizzles out after its first turn, basically. First, maybe second turn, so yeah. Nova, in my opinion, are still pretty bad, but it is what it is. They got their on hits, basically all of them got removed, so you take what you can get if you're a local player, so yeah. Moving on to changes that I actually think are relevant. First one are golds. They got 4 cards changed that are very relevant. First one is the Horsa, so he now is no longer once per turn. Meaning that once you're in Unite, as long as you call a card, he himself and the thing in front of it will keep getting power, so you can scale your columns to be really big. I think this, in my opinion, is the biggest and most important change for the deck, because one of your biggest problems before was that if you went into like a glorious raining turn, your columns just did not scale well at all, and your front row a lot of times were not like 16 solo attackers. This basically changes all of that, so this card makes the deck a lot better in my opinion. So definitely an auto 4 in the deck now, and a very good change for the deck. Next up is the Gurgit Helios. So his change is in his G flip. So before you flipped just to get a drive and draw 1, but now if you have 3 or more face-up units in your unit with Gurgit in its name, so basically if you stride a second and the first thing you showed was a Gurgit, you can put one of your grade 1 or higher rears to the bottom of your deck and he gets a crit. So basically he now gets a crit, and he quote unquote recycles a card in the deck, quote unquote, because you draw a card, so you basically break even when you do this on second stride. So you get a crit now, and that's really good because his other effect is a Glory Guard Restrict, and Glory Guard Restricts are really bad without a crit. So this basically fixes that issue, slightly helps with decking out as well. So yeah, nice quality of life change if anything. I only have one pair of Helios myself, so I haven't actually been able to use this effect because I usually try this thing first. But If you have 4, which I actually do think you probably should play 4 now, what you guys up to you, but yeah, Gurgit Helios, definitely a very nice quality of life change, and definitely a very good change for this card. Next up, we'll go over the other track first. The Heavenly Law also got changed. His change is very simple. He just doesn't cost CB anymore. So yeah, extra CB saved you can be used on something else. So pretty good there. And the last one is the second Gurgit Grade 3. I do not know what his title is, but his changes in his GB2. So before, once you went into Unite on GB2, so basically once you guard it twice, you go into Unite, and then he would give all your units with the Unite possessing ability, the ability to give them intercept and the ability to give them let them intercept from the back row. But now he got changed so that he gives that effect to everything. Very nice change, because one of the biggest issues before is that the Stride Fodder in the deck did not have Unite, so it was one of the big bricks in the deck, so it was just on the board, it was just kind of there. But now it gives it intercept from the back rows once you are in Unite, so very, very good change there. But this doesn't come up too often anyway, just because this GB2 is kind of like doesn't really come on until you're at 5 and eating shit, so yeah. But nonetheless, this is still a very good change, obviously. So yeah. All these changes together, I still don't think Gurgit is a particularly good deck, but I think it is definitely a lot better than it was before. So, yeah, these are the changes for Gurgit, and the most surprising changes that made a deck completely irrelevant to make them actually decent now, in my opinion, is Jewel Knights, and that is they have more than these 2 changes. Off the top of my head, I can remember that the Dog Starter that gave power to rear now has the ability to go to Soul to draw one as well. And Ashley Reverse can only lock 1 for a skill for Limerick 4 now. But those skills are basically irrelevant. The irrelevant skills are from these 2 cards. These 2 buffs were insane for this deck. So the Jewel Knight Stride from the Fighters Collection 2, I think, now has an additional line of text where on play, if you have a Jewel Knight Heart, you can CB 1 and call any Jewel Knight from your deck. So grade 1, grade 2, doesn't matter. Very nice. Main thing the card you're usually calling with this is the Miranda. We'll go over her after, but usually it's her, but something you call other stuff as well. And then once per turn, if you have a Jewel Knight Heart, you can flip anything you're using face up. And then for every and then that turn, all your Jewel Knights get plus 3k for every face up copy of her in your G zone. So on first strike, you have to flip her. So because you won't be doing this at this part of any of the effects without having one face up. So first strike, you have to flip her, so she gives power to the board. And then if you have 4 or more Jewel Knight rears, which is not hard, this deck is very good at swarming the board. If you have 4 more rears, choose one of your opponent's front row rear guards and retire it. So, I think that effect was there before. I actually do not remember. I have not looked at this card at all before this, but she retires one, and then at the end of her face card in your G zone is 2 or more. So second stride onwards, she pops the entire front row. So once second stride onwards, you get over resist as well because it doesn't target. It just pops the entire front row. So very, very good there. And this card is these like insane amount of buffs is one of the reasons why this card is like a stride you can just keep going into like 3 times and win the game off of just doing that. So this card's really good for that. Pumping power matters as well because the new Miranda can also multi-attack, help you multi-attack now. So first, she still has the same first effect, plus 2k if you're Vanguards and Ashley. And now her second effect got changed too. At the end of the battle, there's doing an attack to Vanguard if you have an Ashley Vanguard, so you still need to be on an Ashley, so you still have to ride Ashley for this. You give a unit plus 3k, and then if all the cards in your deck are Jewel Knights or grade 0 heal cards, you can check top 3, add 1 to hand, then you may call that card. So the changes here are, it's no longer on hit. I'm pretty sure it was on hit before, so you don't need to hit anymore. You can now play heal guards in the deck. That was one of the biggest issues with the deck before, that before it had to be all Jewel Knights, so you weren't allowed to play heal guards. Now you can. And you are allowed to call the card you check out the top. So, or you add it off the top, so you can use her to extend and do multi attacks. You find it on another Miranda, you can call that Miranda and just do it again because it doesn't need to hit anymore. So, these 2 buffs added together really, really made the deck like a playable deck now. I don't think it's like an amazing deck, but it is definitely a deck that is something you would take the ladder and not feel too bad about because. The deck has a very strong early game. Going first, if you play Selfings, you actually can do something going first with Ashley Reverse. And then this stride is just really good because it can pop front row, gives power to board, and then once you get power to board, you can multi-attack with Miranda or just add stuff to hand. Very tanky as well because if you ever played like Duel Links during Limerick era, this Miranda lets you just fetched a bunch of PGs with Miranda, so deck was very tanky as well, and it still is. So yeah, I at first was very skeptical of this deck, but after playing a bit of it myself, I actually think the Duel Links are actually a very solid deck. So that's it for the buffs. We actually got some nerfs as well. So not actual card, actually no, 1 card nerf and 2 choice restricts. So before, if you saw the 0 CS from last month, you have seen that Gears and Coral dominated the meta. So what got changed there? So let's quickly pull all of it up. So Coral, the thing they got changed is that Crook, their grade, the Crook or Crook whatever, the grade 0 stand, that card now needs to hit Van for it to work. So the card is no longer just a free extender anymore. So what has happened in the deck? Some people are still playing some amounts of this card, not maxing out anymore because this card's not nearly as broken. It'll obviously still come up, but it's just not nearly as good as it used to be. So there's basically 2 builds that has been running around with Coral. A build that still plays stands and Kirks and all that, and then another build that plays the Lacole, this girl, the grade 1 that says if you have 3 or less deck, this unit can ignore intercept and your opponent cannot guard from hand, cannot guard with heals or PGs at all. So you basically have like a more traditional list that still plays stands and stuff, and you have a list that just tries to cheese you, like putting you to going milling to 3 cards in the deck and just killing you with this card. So deck is still very, very strong because if you've seen the 0 GF, the 0 Grand Finals, you'll see it was still basically dominated by the same decks, ZTB and Coral. So yeah, 2 different Coral lists. Coral basically you just the old quote-unquote old list got worse, and then there's just a new list running around now that tries to cheat you. So yeah, Coral still very, very good. And as for Gears, they got I don't even remember what set all these cards came from. I think yeah, I think it's a little easier. So they got 2 choice restricts. So Split Pegasus, your usual first stride, and Napada got choice restricted. So I'm sure all of you know what cards I'm talking about. The Split Pegasus, the one that puts that card, one of your cards back to the bottom of your deck to call 2 with grade -1. So that card got choice restricted along with the grade 1 intercept. Yeah, so the Pegasus here and Napada. And so these 2 got choice restricted with each other. So that definitely sucks because you know, you lost your best first stride. The deck definitely feels a lot more clunkier now without Split Pegasus as your first stride, but deck's still pretty good because obviously you are choosing Napada as your choice restrict here because Napada was, in my opinion, at least one of the reasons why this deck was like so broken, because your opponent just could not get to your face because Napada just stops them. So yeah, Napada is still your choice between these 2 here. Because yeah, Napada just slows the game down and actually lets you get Heritage as a win condition. So what happens to this deck now that you're not playing Split Pegasus? That basically forces you to have 4 Avenires, because Avenir is now your first and potentially your second stride. So yeah, losing Split Pegasus definitely hurts, but the deck still functions because you still have your broken grade 1 intercept. So that was the first restrict, and your second one was the Spearhead Unicorn and the Metal Party Dragon, the other grade 2. So this was restrict. I assume here is because they basically didn't want you to have an extender that can go into an extender and just be able to just murk your opponent on a Heritage turn or turns before that. So yeah, in my opinion, I think this choice is a little more flexible. I think this is completely up to preference in which choice you want. I personally think Metal Party is better because Metal Party isn't restricted to attacking a Vanguard, as well as it's being a 10k base, so it can be harder to aggro you early, as well as harder to be over as an actual intercept. Actually, no, never mind. This thing's an 11k intercept, right? I forgot about that. But yeah, yeah, I think this thing being able to extend as being able to extend into a rear, as well as just being a 10k base as a ride early, is nicer. But I wouldn't fault you for wanting to play Unicorn as well, because Unicorn is actually a plus, because you can use Unicorn and try to dig for Napadas and stuff, or just extend like that. So yeah, I think this choice is more or less preference. I think you play whichever one you want. but I think between Napada and Split Pegasus, it is 100% Napada, and if you're playing Split Pegasus, you're probably just bad, so yeah. But as for actual tier placements for these decks, I probably will not be doing a full-on tier list this month. I don't think anything's changed enough. But basically, let's just go into our tier list from last month. I'll just quickly take a look at that. So, as for changes, I don't think anything realistically changed that much. I think Gurgit probably goes up. Jet. I think these decks are. I mean, you could probably throw Shearing up here too, but yeah. So something like this, and you could probably like move some stuff up, around, up and around stuff like that. But it's basically something like this. Throw Jewel Knight somewhere in tier 2 as well, probably in the playable tier. And your meta is basically this. Basically what the tier list did, or not, what the the changes did is basically they made Jet and I don't even think, yeah, they made Jet and Coral not as stupid. Because I think last one you could arguably probably put something like this. I think Coral I think was good, like pre-Kirk nerf, but I personally thought ETB was still like the undisputed best deck, but you could probably argue Coral would be here. So this was probably a more like quote-unquote accurate representation of the meta strength at 15. But basically these changes curbed these two decks to around the same level as these two decks, so you can bump these up, bump these down, however you want to do it. But yeah, something like this, throw Jewel Knight somewhere in tier 2. So yeah, I'm not gonna make a whole new tier list about this. Changes don't affect enough for me to want to do that. But yeah, you want to tier list this Jewel Knight somewhere here. So yeah. So yeah, not the longest video. Quickly go over the changes after like a whole month's worth of time has gone by. I got a very fast tier list update, I guess. But yeah, definitely expect me to do more content moving forward. I'll probably use next month to catch up on all the decks I was supposed to do this month that I didn't do the month before this. So yeah, next month probably just catch up month. So yeah, look forward to those. Stuff you're looking forward to. Asha probably. I'll probably do something for Gize as well, and then maybe some fish decks that I missed. But that's it for this video. Sorry about the good stuff. Sorry I haven't uploaded for a month. But again, actual valid reason. But yeah, subscribe all the good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.